What is up? We are live. What is up, guys? Am I coming through loud and clear? Most importantly, before we get this thing rolling, let me know in the comments. Am I coming through loud and clear? Should be. Should all be good. Got Big T in the chat. Dan's in the chat. What's up, guys? Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, a bit of a slight delay tonight. Was going to stream about 15 minutes earlier, but shit happens. So slight delay, but no biggie. It's slightly earlier than what I usually actually stream on on average. Usually it's like midnight, 12:15. So 11:45 is actually reasonably early for me. No JT tonight. JT was due to be on board as well, but he double booked basically. He basically made plans for the stream and then realised he'd made plans elsewhere with family and friends, which is more important than some fucking stream on YouTube. Let's be honest. So no JT tonight, just me riding solo. Well, I'll put the link out if anyone wants to jump on. They're more than welcome to. But yeah, I'm assuming I'm going to be riding solo tonight. It's a little bit intimidating actually, because I've kind of got used to having like the bounce off, so it's a little bit nervous, almost nervous. I did it for like 12. Well, I still do it like on a regular basis, but when you've been streaming, sort of like on a regular basis with like other people to like sort of like talk to and just bounce off the banter and the conversation, and then when it's like you're thrown into the deep end and it's just you and an audience and nobody else, and it's kind of intimidating. But being there, done that. We'll see how things go. Hopefully the chat will be lively enough to bounce off. So how many times am I going to say bounce off in like a minute, really? That sounds so shit as well. But anyway, first things first, acknowledge the chat. So we've got 5 people in the chat. If you're in the chat and you've not like commented, just put a comment in. Let me know who's there. I'd like to know who's watching. Dan says he's reviewing the menu later. I did see it. I saw a trailer or saw a poster for it. I'm not entirely sure what it was. Oh, bloody hell. Gareth's in the chat. Jesus Christ, man. It's past. I know you've just streamed. I know you're probably just trying to get to bed. I understand. I know what it is. You've just streamed. I know it's late. And you're looking for something to put you to sleep. So I was like, I'll go on my stream, put the headphones in, and that'll just. What's up, Gareth? That's nice to see you on board, man. Watching any new films? Did I watch any new films? I watched. I think we discussed The Lair. I see The Lair because the way I pronounce it, Lair. I think we discussed that the other night. What did I watch today? I did watch a movie that was recommended in the chat from like the other week, which was 12 Feet Deep. The movie where the girls are in the swimming pool and it's just like they're like trapped underneath it. That was an entertaining movie. I enjoyed that. Tobin Bell is kind of like, why is Tobin Bell in that film? It's just like he's there as like the manager of the fucking swimming pool, and then just like closes up and goes home, and then like that's the last we see of him. That's just the most bizarre use of Tobin Bell I could imagine, really. What's up, Ben? Ben's in the chat. Catching up on Walking Dead. Final episode on Sunday. Final episode of Walking Dead. My God. The Walking Dead, which they've been Walking Dead for like the last 15 fucking years. I never thought that show was going to end. Seriously. And I gave up after about season 2. My God. I mean, what season are they on now? Is it like fucking 12 or some shit? I mean, literally. I mean, I hate to shit on US TV, but you guys really know how to fucking drag out a dead corpse. It's like in the UK, and Gareth will testify, we keep things, okay, I'm not saying we don't drag out. I'm not saying there's never been a TV show that we don't drag out till it's fucking decay and death, but we'd like to keep things pretty clean and pretty low key, and keep it short and simple. And Fawlty Towers, 2 seasons or 2 series. If I'm going to use British definitions, 2 series, but for American audiences, I'll say seasons. Fawlty Towers, 2 seasons. The Office, 2 seasons. Extras, which I fucking love, 2 seasons. Afterlife, I'm just going to use Ricky Gervais comedies for a while, 3 seasons. It's just The Office America, fucking 11 seasons, 10 seasons, like seriously. The Simpsons, 8 seasons, whatever the fuck is going on. Seriously, I mean, Family Guy, is that still going? South Park, don't. I do love South Park, but again, like, how many? 25 seasons is it now? I mean, you guys, you really know how to drag out a TV show. Jesus Christ. Jamie's in the chat. Westworld's getting cancelled. Thank fuck. Yeah, Westworld, again, you've dragged that out too long. Season 4, cancelled. At least you're cancelling it. I mean, Jesus Christ. Season 1, one of the greatest seasons of TV ever caught on camera. Westworld Season 1, amazing, unbelievable. Loved it. Anthony Hopkins is just killer in it. I love everybody in them. In that season, it's just gold. Season 2, diminishing returns, big time. Season 3, what? Fuck off. My alarm's going off. Yeah, season 3, terrible season. I checked out after episode 5. And then we get a season 4 and it's getting cancelled. Yeah, it's the best thing for it. I mean, Westworld would have worked as a 1 season show, realistically. I think you could have told the entire story in 1 season, and it would have ended perfectly with Anthony Hopkins' death as well. Because once he was, yeah. I mean, it leaves a sore point that the whole Westworld really does. Yeah, Supernatural got 15. I never watched Supernatural ever. It was never. It always came across as a bit of a light-hearted sort of like 6 p.m. show. Like it was a bit like Buffy. It felt like a bit like Buffy. I was too old for Buffy, and I felt like I was too old for Supernatural. When that came out, I was like 30, nearly 30, and it always felt like a bit like something that was just aimed at like 15-year-old girls who can swoon over the male leads, and I was like, not for me. But yeah, not for me. Supernatural. Yeah, Ben says 15 seasons of 24 episodes each. I gave up on Supernatural because I watched. It takes a long time to get through some of those shows. I mean, I don't want to be harsh on Buffy because Buffy was kind of like, I suppose I was kind of at the age group that they were aiming at, and maybe a little bit younger than me when that did drop. But it was just. It aired at like 6, 7 p.m. on I think it was like a Friday night in the UK, and when that aired, I think it dropped in like the mid to about 95, 96. If you're dropping a show on a Friday night at like 7 p.m. in the UK, whenever it was, man, I was out getting fucking fucked up, man. I'm not gonna lie, I was like 20 years old. I was like, we had to be 18 to drink in the UK. So I was out, Friday night, man. I was out there, I was getting fucking hammered. I wasn't watching TV at like 7 p.m. on a Friday night. No fucking way. I was just like, I may have woken up on a Saturday morning thinking, what the fuck's gone on? And maybe watched it tongue over, but no, I wasn't watching it live, that's for sure. What's up, Chris? Never too old for Buffy. Yeah, no, you're not. I may have to rewatch it and just like go back to it and try and remember some of the shit I saw. Yeah, don't worry about the email, man. Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, we'll you just let me know when you're ready to do a stream, and it's all good, man. Yeah. I watched Supernatural. Oh, what's Anthony? What's up, man? I watched Supernatural all the way through. Really good Monsters of the Week episodes. The only thing I really remember about Supernatural is that they took the lead character, one of the leads from it, and put him in The Fog, and then took the other lead and put him in Friday the 13th remake. So you have both male leads played the leading role in a remake of one of John Carpenter's greatest ever films, and the Friday the 13th original. So it's like, that's probably all I remember them for, really, more than anything, more than the actual Supernatural TV show. Ben says Buffy was my pandemic show. Watched them for the first time that summer. Oh, okay, so you sort of jumped on board in like 2020 with that. Oh, that's cool. It's nice to see. The pandemic did play some positive role. I suppose it did. People did sort of like discover new stuff during the whole lockdown thing. People just. I mean, I'm streaming now because of lockdown. I wouldn't have been streaming otherwise. So lockdown did play a lot of like positive roles as well as the fucking horrendous decline of everything else. But Jamie says, I watched Buffy and I was in my 20s. I admit I was rather immature. Yeah, I think you're a little bit older than me, Jamie. So yeah, I think I was like 2021 when that thing dropped, and you probably would have been a little bit older than me. Dan says, hey Chris, hey Dan. What's about me? Yeah, we're talking about Supernatural. Buffy gets as it goes on. Yeah, Buffy does get a bit more adult. Do I remember rightly? Was there a scene in Buffy where there's a scene where she's getting it on with Spike, and like you hear like a zip unfasten, as if like he's just unzipped his pants and then he just like fucks her basically. Did I remember? Is that something I just like imagined, or did that actually happen? And what blew my mind is Spike is American. He's not actually British. He did a really good job. I was convinced he was English. I really thought he was. Yeah, Chris says it started dwindling in the mid-late season, but picks up back to the hype into the end. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I remember it. Unless I just imagined it, like Buffy getting fucked by Spike, and it's like not literally. I mean, you don't see anything, but you do hear the zip. The pretty heavy school. She's in theatre to pull. That was probably before Columbine, I'm guessing, Dan. If it was before, because Columbine was 19. I mean, yeah, I've got like a pretty warped, like sort of telepathic memory of like American disasters, and I think Columbine was 99. So I'm getting Buffy obviously was around that era. So what's up, Piz? Piz is in the chat. What's up, man? Oh, sure. Yeah, I was as well, Piz. Yeah, definitely. I was convinced he was, and like, I don't think he was only doing a generic English accent. It's not like he was trying to do like a regional accent, which is like something like I've got, which he probably wouldn't have been able to pull off realistically. But he was just basically doing a posh, what I would call a posh London accent. But I was convinced he was English. He did a fantastic job. Which is totally side point, which not what I was going to talk about tonight. But I think you briefly touched on it on the last stream, just because like I had Dave on from Savage Zombie Reviews. He's from like my neck of the woods in like like Liverpool way, and we got onto accents and just like how convincing because I mentioned the Lair, the new what's his name, the guy who did fucking The Descent, what's his name, Neil Marshall. So I mentioned like about the thing that took me out of the movie slightly was the really, really jarring, strange accents in that film. And like as I say, I'm not American, but I can pick up on a bad Southern accent. And you guys, I know there's a lot of Southern guys in the chat. The guy who played the major or the colonel, the guy in charge of the base, basically. Like his attempt at a southern accent, and like I'm not southern, clearly. I'm not American, clearly. But I picked up on the slightly awkward way he pronounced everything. And I've spent enough time around you guys on YouTube, Piers and Dan, a lot of Southern guys in the chat. And I was like, oh, that sounds rough. That sounds a little bit strange. And even my wife, she doesn't talk to you guys. She's not like any expert on like American accents. And even she said was like, is he American? It sounds a bit weird. And I was like, yeah. So I jumped on IMDb and checked him out, and it's like it was English. And I'm like, why does like Neil Marshall's like a respected director? He's done The Descent, he's done Dog Soldiers. I know these are British movies, essentially, even though The Descent is kind of like an American setting. But I'm like, does he really? Is a guy like this? Can he not like? How difficult is it just to get a guy from the South to play a guy from the South in a movie set in Afghanistan? Like, why do you need to just get some random English guy who's not a particularly good actor? No offense, he's not bad, but why do you need to get a guy to put on this fake Southern accent? Because it does pull me out the movie a little bit. And the guy who plays the Welshman, I mean, oh my god, I mean that I'm half Welsh. My dad's Welsh. The guy who plays the over the top Welshman, oh my god, that his accent was shockingly bad. And I'm just like, and to be fair, like the African American girl, well, she's not African American, she's actually English, but the girl who plays the African American woman, she's British. I felt like she sounded pretty good. But again, I just don't know why they just didn't use an American woman to play the role. It just seems so strange to me. But yeah, I mean, going off on a complete tangent, yeah, like the whole accent thing to me is just like really, really bizarre. I don't know why someone of Neil Marshall's standing can't just use, a freaking American actor to play the role. It just seems a bit odd to me. But it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, that was The Lair. I really liked it. That was the original question. I've gone gone totally off. Anyway, Al's in the chat. What's up, Al? Happy Saturday. Thank you. Just turned 5 minutes ago. Alexi's in the chat. What's up? If anyone's not subscribed to Alexi's channel, I did plug him. I don't know if I plugged him in my stream. I might have just plugged him on his own channel. I can't remember, but Alexi is like a new YouTuber starting out, and he's really on point with his reviews. He does like these like sort of 9-10 minute reviews on like a lot. He covers a range of genres. But Alexi, if you want, I don't know if you can like drop your channel into the description, into the comments. I don't know if you can do that. Can you? I'm not entirely sure. I'm so dumb when it comes to that. If you can't do that, I'll try and drop your channel in the description when this is aired. But if you know how to do that and you can do that, then Alexi, drop your channel description into the comments, and then people can then go and find you over there, because Alexi's got like 10 subscribers. And he's literally just started out, and he's really fucking clued up on his stuff, man. He really knows how to carry a review, way more than I ever could. So yeah, I don't know if that's Alexi. I don't know if that's your. I can't remember. So yeah, Alexi's done it. So yeah, go to Alexi. Give him a subscription, man, because he's a fucking legend. He's so articulate in his reviews, and as I say, yeah, if you like 9, 10, 11, 12-minute reviews of movies, and it's not just horror, he goes into other sort of genres as well. Yeah, and Lexi, man, thanks for being on. Thanks for being on, man. I really appreciate it. I know JT's been plugging you as well, because yeah, you deserve it, man. That's no problem, man. This is a very, very kind, caring community you're in now, man. We'll look after you. So I've kind of missed the chat a little. Ben says, I like later. It was a person who was out in Afghanistan. It didn't Afghanistan. Oh, that's of course, Ben. Yeah, you've been out there, man. Fucking hell, man. That's I appreciate what you did there, man. Whatever it is you did there, like however long you were out there, man. Because I remember like the stories, the scare story. I mean, back in Jesus Christ, back in like because the UK were out there in force and like as well with the Americans in like back like 2010, 2009, 2010, 2011, man, it was fucking grim. Like there was just Helmand was just like a bad place to be, and like the amount of bodies coming out of that area at that time, it was like a weekly procession come back to the UK of dead bodies, and I don't. That sounds. I'm making it worse now to say it was bad. Yeah, my God. So yeah, if anything you did over there, man, much appreciated. You're not Southern. Who's Al replying to? I'm not. So Ben was born in DC. Okay. Oh, so Dan's from DC. So Dan's not from the South. I never actually, you know what? I actually never thought you were from the South, Dan. I never really sort of like, I think you live in Georgia now, but I never really sort of got that. Yeah, I always thought you never sounded Southern to me. It's not like, you don't sound like Jake or Piz or Chris, it's I never really got that. I suppose it all makes sense now. But you still don't sound like Lorne, though. Lorne. Where's Lorne tonight? Lorne's probably in bed. DC and then Richland. What Richland? What's W? Is WA? What's WA? Is that Washington? Washington State? Or I'm pretty good on my states. Like I'm pretty good like on what the abbreviations are, but because I know Pennsylvania's like isn't like Pennsylvania PA, which makes no sense to me, but it is. Oh, so yeah, so Washington State. Okay, yeah, which is a long way from where you are now. I mean, Washington State right on the other side of the country, isn't it? That's like Washington State's like above. Isn't Washington State above like Oregon? It goes California, Oregon, Washington, or does it go California, Washington, Oregon? I can't even remember, and it's right in the northwest of the country, isn't it? You sound like a Southern American to me. Hang on. So hang on. No. Al thinks I sound like a Southern American. Jay, who's it? Al's not talking. Surely Al's not talking to me. Can't be. Surely I don't sound like a Southern American. Oh my God! Really? I could do an impression of I could try and do an impression of a Southern American. No, I think we've got our wires crossed a little bit there. Anyway, let's get into our first topic of conversation because we mean like rattling on. So, has anybody heard about this Escape from New York reboot that is apparently happening? And it's involving the guys behind Ready or Not, VHS, and Scream 5. I'm a little bit like, what? I never saw this coming. Apparently, this is a thing. I don't know when, where, or how, but it's looking like it's going to happen. And when we take into account the fact that The Fog is being remaked, Halloween is being remaked, The Thing has kind of been remaked or recalled or prequeled. And what was the other Carpenter movie that was remade? So hang on, Assault on Precinct 13 was remade 15 years ago. Escape from New York has escaped, cheap pun, the whole remake, obsession up until now. A movie from 81, we're talking 41 years ago, it's avoided it to this point, but it looks like it's happening. And yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure because obviously the fog was a disaster. Assault on Precinct 13 was terrible. I'll be honest. I don't think it was that bad. The Thing, okay, it wasn't a remake. It was but they were taking Carpenter's name basically. They knew what they were aiming for with that movie. They were relying on Carpenter's sort of like Carpenter's movie for kudos basically. And I mean, I just think this movie's come 10 years too late, maybe 20 years too late. I'm not against the Escape from New York remake, but I think it would have to happen maybe 10 years from now. I just don't, in this current climate, which I don't really want to go into too much detail about, but I think people might know what I mean is, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Escape from New York, without going into too much detail, you're taking a remake of a movie about an ultra male, ultra macho, ultra cool, like anti-hero, and you're going to remake it for 2023, 2024. I mean, how is it going to play out, really? I mean, who's going to replace Kurt Russell? John Cena? I hope not, Chris. If you're a favourite to Snake Plissken, I hope not. Because I'll be honest with you, Gerard Butler, I honestly don't think they would do that. I mean, I honestly think that if they do remake Escape from New York, they may just, I don't know, if the budget's small enough, they will keep it simple and they'll keep it safe. If this was a big budget movie, I honestly think they may decide to go with just the least. If they're going to go with a man, period, and not just replace him with a woman, I think they may just go with a man who's just like the complete opposite of like macho and like bad guy, tough guy, and just go with someone like just utterly ridiculous. And as crazy as that might sound, it's going 2023, 2020. If 2023, 2024 is going to be anything like 2022, would that be really surprise? I mean, it's just seems to be the way. It just seems like macho, ultra alpha male lead roles are just on the decline, and like you don't get any more macho alpha male than Kurt Russell in Escape from New York. He is like the ultimate alpha male macho guy character. And in 2020, even though that makes money, in 2022, Top Gun Maverick, $1 billion movie, Tom Cruise doesn't allow all this social justice nonsense into his movies, makes $1 billion. Hollywood still doesn't seem to understand that this is how the world operates and this is how you make money. You make money by offering a service to people and you offer what people want to see. And people want to see in movies like Top Gun Maverick and movies like Escape from New York, if ever gets the green light, they want to see macho guys doing macho shit. And that's just a fact of life. But Hollywood, I always go on this rant every few months, and but they don't seem to learn. It just seems to be like they never ever seem to cotton onto this fact that this is how you make money. They're constantly virtue signaling. They're constantly like the MCU is just dying a death now because the MCU is just trying to reverse everything that made it great in the first place. And I don't mean that trying to make everything female centric. It's not that, but they're trying to take away all kind of like positive energy from male characters in the MCU now. It's like it's just bizarre what they're doing, and it's showing in the box office. I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I really don't want to make this a political channel. And I know I have done in the past I have gone on a bit of a rant about politics in movies, but it's kind of hard to avoid now. And I think everybody watching knows that it's a thing. It's like everybody knows it's a thing. We all know that, they try and advertise like, oh, that, if they try and try something new, they say this movie wasn't made for you, or this movie is like, I'm like, well, if it's not made for me, who's it made for then? Because I'm the stupid bastard who spends fucking £15 in a cinema to watch a movie. So if it's not made for me, who the fuck's it made for? But I mean, I've gone off a bit of a tangent again, but I mean, I do dread the day that hang on. Oh yeah, John Wick 4. There's a movie that's not gone woke. John Wick. Hopefully, it doesn't do it in 4. Yeah, I mean, who would play Kurt Russell in Escape from New York? I mean, realistically, who? I mean, I suppose Chris Pratt would be my choice. I suppose of who I'm thinking of now. He's kind of like the right age, I suppose. And he's, maybe he's a little bit too blonde. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's like it's a tough one. I mean, like if they do go forward with it, I mean, like the casting's going to be all important for like this. I mean, it's and if they want to do a sequel as well, I mean, I'm not saying do Escape from LA. Obviously, that would probably be a disaster. But who you need someone who's going to be in place to to maybe go on further down the line. But I don't know. Just stop remaking classic movies that don't need to be remade. But I like realistically, what are they hoping to do in terms of box office from a Escape from New York remake? Anyway, it's not as if Escape from New York is a beloved film amongst hardcore group of fans, and it's known widely amongst the I'm not saying it's widely it's a widely known movie, but amongst like who's actually going to go and turn out and force to watch a movie like this on the cinema if it gets a cinema release. Now if it goes to streaming, which is more than likely, even then the name recognition is probably going to appeal to like a hardcore base of fans. And this is a 41-year-old movie. There's going to be a lot of people out there who have no awareness of Escape from New York. Unless you are a Carpenter fan or a Kurt Russell fan, the average moviegoer who's like in the early 20s, late teens, they ain't got a fucking clue about anything. They don't even know. They don't know what fucking country they live in most of the time. They're too busy with their eyes like 2 centimeters on the phone. They don't know what the fuck's going on. So, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like Escape from New York in 2022, 2023 seems like a strange decision to me. What is less strange? Smile 2, which has been acknowledged in the last couple of days that apparently they are going for a Smile 2, which is no big surprise. I mean, Smile's done like serious numbers. I mean, in the UK, it is done really well. I think in the US as well, it's done really, really well. And it just goes to show, if you can take small budget horror movies are just gold dust. I mean, gold dust. It's Jason Blum had the right idea. Going back 15, 20 years, getting on board with this whole, make a movie for $5 million, suck an audience in, and make $50-60 million box office. Smile's done that. Whatever the cost was, it couldn't have been. It couldn't have cost too much. 10 million maybe tops. I'm not entirely sure, but it's done major box office around, well, certainly in Western Europe and in the States. And it's a no-brainer. This is where movie directors, movie studios. This is where sensible decisions are made, and you make sequels, whether it's a good thing to do. But if you want to make money, make sequels to movies that make money, and keep any sort of like politics out of it, and just make good movies. Smile was a movie. It was a simple movie. You know, it didn't like try and project anything. Wasn't trying to be too clever. It was just telling a story, and it's reaped the dividends. So obviously, it makes sense to do a sequel. Apparently, looks like they're going to be looking at the cop in it, who's like the ex partner of the female lead. Looks like they want to bring him into it in the sequel. So is this? I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know how they're going to work it because spoiler alert, he gets kind of like the curse passed on to him at the end. So I don't know how they're going to do that one. Obviously, maybe it's going to be they're going to set it immediately after the first film, and then it's going to be a case of him having like 4, 5, 6 days to try and work out how to end the curse. But I mean, yeah, it makes sense. You know, Smile made good money, do a sequel. Barbarian has done good money. Well, I think it did well in the UK on the first weekend. You know, by all means, make a sequel, but make it interesting and give us something to, you know, give us a reason to watch it. Don't just churn out some garbage nonsense sequel for the sake of like, well, this made money, so we're just going to do whatever we can. You know, think about what you're doing. Look at what Ty West did with X, and then going forward with Pearl, and going forward with Maxine. You know, these are movies that you're gonna Maxine, just from what he's done with the first two movies, is almost certainly going to generate money because there's a hardcore base there of just like totally on board with what he's doing. And you know, that's what filmmakers need to be looking at now. They need to be looking at starting new franchises and maybe looking at expanding from the beginning and thinking, well, I've got a movie now, and I'm going to look at like how can I expand this beyond this film, and like maybe look at an extended universe in it almost like a DCU or an MCU. You know, the opportunities are endless, really. With and horrors, it shouldn't be limited to like sci-fi action movies. You know, Ty West has proven, you know, he can go forward with Maxine. He could extend it beyond that. There's just a lot of opportunities there, you know. So let me catch up with the chat. I did miss a few comments before. Wyatt Russell. Get Wyatt Russell son of thing. Thank you, Sean. Nice meeting you, mate. I'm over it. I've been over for a while. Yeah. They'll never listen. I think just is he a little bit old though, Josh Brolin? I mean, Josh Brolin's like 50s now, I think. I'm 46. He's older than me. Definitely older than me. Scott Atkins. You know that name, yeah. Fucking make your mistake. Carl Urban. What's he doing now? Probably not much. Tom Hardy. I don't think Tom Hardy would be. I don't know. Tom Hardy, maybe. I just can't see Tom Hardy with the hair. You know, like I don't know. It's Tom Hardy, unless they give him like a short haircut, which it's not for me. It's not Snake. Urban is awesome and everything. Yeah, he's good in Dread. We do need more old school. Yes. We do need more old school action stars like that. We definitely need more old school action stars. Jesus, man, but we're crying out for that. We're just crying out for like some old school 80s shit. I mean, am I being stupid now? Like it's like, can we bring like some of this 80s machismo back? Some of this, you know, testosterone back? That's like, but that makes money. But they don't seem to see that. They don't seem to see that. Like that's what makes money. That's why Maverick was a $1 billion movie. It's a throwback to the 80s and not having this like, you know, ridiculous sort of not even about politics and gender and sex. It's just about, you know, a movie about, well, I'm gonna say it's a movie about like fellas being fellas, But that probably sounds a bit. Like I said, I'm all for females, but why bother ranking? But remake something if you don't love it. Why not just create an original film from that? Yes, that is a great point, Alexi. Because I was watching a TV show the other day in the UK, and they were talking about like the possibility of making Indiana Jones a woman. You know, apparently in the next movie, his goddaughter's going to be in it, and there was talk that she might become, you know, Indiana Jones, and they had a phone in, you know, people ringing in about their opinions, and someone like made the really good point. It's like, why do we need to like hijack what is classically a man's franchise and give it to a woman? Why not just make the franchise? Why not just create new franchises for women? But the reason they won't is because it takes too much work. It takes too much work because it's easy just to hijack an old established franchise and do it that way. Because it's. I mean, it's just too lazy to try and do anything new. I mean, look at Tomb Raider. It's like imagine like you know, but you know what, we're really struggling for ideas. Let's just get a guy and we'll make him Lara Croft. And it's like, can you imagine? Be like, well, why are you doing that? You're taking a female character, making it male. That's unacceptable. Well, that's what's just been happening constantly recently. Not that I want to see a male Lara Croft character personally, but that's exactly that though. It's like just create good, strong female characters. And the thing about it is as well, it's like growing up, it's like there were constant like strong women in films and TV shows, but it was never like sort of you weren't never bashed over the head with it. They just were. You know, whether it was TV or movies, Buffy was a good example. You know, strong female character. You were never like so it was never like felt like I was constantly bashed over the head that like Buffy was a woman. It was just like, well, she just is, and she's just a strong character. Obviously, Sarah Connor, you know, Ripley, you know, Nikita, fucking look, Resident Evil. You know, look at Mia Jovovich. It never felt like these characters were like bashing you over the head with the fact that they were women. They would just happen to be women who were like badasses. But it's like we can't have that now. It's got to be like it's a woman who is strong, and she's going to constantly tell you she's strong over and over again. And if you don't like the fact that she's strong, then that makes you like some sort of misogynist. It's just like it's just so weird now. Like everything now in Hollywood and TV, it's just I don't get it, man. I don't get it. You must just go for agency thousand to pull off. Yeah, definitely. Badass presence. Brie Larson, yeah, Brie Larson, yeah. Jesus Christ, no, thank you. Brie Larson, the opposite of a strong woman. Kristen Wiig. Frank Grillo's he's like an old school badass. Like, you know, he's a throwback, definitely. Love Frank Grillo. New York's unrubbed by sis. It is. It probably is. And probably but he is the only person who can put in the place. Yeah, Frank would definitely work there. I've always wanted to wear an eye patch. Jamie probably won't be more macho than some of the male roles he'd have in line to play it. To be fair, I think you'd probably be more of a badass. John Bernthal. Who's John Bernthal? I feel like I know that name, but I'm not entirely sure. I Patrick make one look mysterious. Oh my god, Pete Davidson, no, please, no. I do like him in Bodies, but he just comes across like someone who I really wouldn't get on with in real life. I knew when movies stopped making as much money in theatres that you would go for the guarantee money remake instead of original projects. Well, I mean, let's face it, it's like I saw Wakanda Forever in the theatre. Was it Tuesday night? It was a 4:20 showing, so it wasn't never going to be busy at 4:20 in the afternoon. To be fair, on a Tuesday, but the film only got released on the Friday, and there was 6 of us in the cinema. Not like in the entire cinema, obviously, but at that screening, there was 6 of us. And I was like, this is like 6 of us, really? For a Marvel movie on the opening week? Even like 4 o'clock in the afternoon? That seemed like weird, because I've done a similar time for Spider-Man No Way Home on a Tuesday. I always do Tuesday. It's always, for me, it's always a Tuesday late afternoon when I go to cinema. Like it's like something I do with my son. No Way Home was a lot busier than that. Endgame was just full. Like, it's never, you're never going to get Endgame levels ever again. But it was kind of an interesting parallel with Wakanda Forever, how things have dropped. And like, yeah, this whole phase 4 now. I know No Way Home is phase 4, but the interest, I was going to address this as well about the MCU. The interest is starting to drop now. Fatigue is wearing in, I think. It makes me nuts too. I can't watch a movie anymore. I feel like I've jumped Jimmy Kiss over my shoulder. I like if Peter's cast a snake. Yeah, definitely. It's in these trying times. Sorry, it makes me so. Yeah, Bloom's approach. Well, I probably won't go into any detail about this one, but you guys in this chat can discuss it amongst yourselves. Jason Bloom and James Wan's company merging together to form like some sort of like super company of horror, so to speak. That news sort of dropped in the last couple of days. I don't know what you guys think of that. I don't know what it means. If it means anything for like going forward, whether it's going to impact any franchises or any like maybe a coming together of franchises, maybe. But yeah, that was something that was like certainly interesting. Jason Blum and James Wan coming together, man. That's like a pretty powerful combination. Yeah, Terrified 2 definitely making good money. Yeah, I mean, Snakes actually in 2022 New York. Okay, there's a little bit more chat, but I'll go into let's go into like something I did want to address. Like, so the MCU. I know this is like a horror theme channel, but the MCU. There's a saying, isn't there, which I'm sure you guys in the States are aware of: when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. And I think you could make the same comparison with the MCU and say where the MCU sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. So if the MCU is struggling in terms of like what it's doing box office, you could probably make a similar sort of equation, if that's even the right word, probably not, for what goes on in terms of the rest of box office. Because if the MCU is not making money or not making as much money as it used to, then I think it's fair to say that maybe a lot of the other cinema releases maybe aren't going to make as much money as what they were. And I think with the MCU, it is suffering from burnout. I mean, this isn't really going to be about other cinema like fail. This is basically me talking about the MCU and where it's going to go from now. Because like I know how many people are actually have any interest in the MCU who watch this channel. Maybe not that many, but I do think it's important because the MCU is kind of like a gauge of like just how big cinema is at this time. And if something like Endgame is making a $2 billion movie, is making $2 billion, then it's fair to say that if a decent horror movie is only making like $10 million, it's not that's not great news, because if there is the need to see that a movie like on that level, then it doesn't look good on like everything else. And so if you do take into account that like 3 years down the line from Endgame, we're talking about like the biggest movies in cinema now are movies like, well, literally Wakanda Forever, and they're like doing like a quarter of that. Then I think it's fair to say that, what are we going to see in terms of like horror releases now? I mean, Smile did. I mean, I want to say it did. I know Smile did well, but in terms of like going forward, if something like the MCU is taking a massive hit now, and we have got to take into account like massive inflation now across, well, certainly across Europe, certainly across Britain. I know the States is like suffering from a lot of inflation. I know things are going up in price. If the MCU takes a massive hit in terms of like what they're doing in sales, then that could have a massive impact across the rest of cinema. And cinemas rely on like, these massive movies, like these MCU movies and other like these big budget releases, because they will bring people to, they put bums on seats. And now if people aren't traveling, if the people aren't going to go, that impacts everything. And it's going to impact physical media. It's going to impact smaller horror releases, smaller like independent releases, which, if cinemas do drop to the way they possibly could over the next 5 years, because I genuinely can't see how things are so grim now in terms of just in the UK. It's, I mean, I can't speak for the States, but like the prices are so expensive. We're in a recession. Prices are through the roof. Food is through the roof. Yeah, power, gas, electricity is through the roof, and people's disposable income is like next to nothing now. If you're in a blue collar job, working class job, disposable income is just at an all time low, and people will take what disposable income they've got and they will spend on, if they do go to like say a big movie, it's probably all likelihood going to be something like an MCU movie or a DC movie. So if people aren't even going to pay the money to go and see like a big budget movie release, then you have to wonder what is the hope for like smaller independent movies, smaller horror movies. You have to wonder like what is the hope for physical media, because people are spending less on. I mean, physical media is dying anyway. I mean, it is just dying, and this whole recession, and it's just gonna kill it off even quicker. Streaming services are the only thing that benefited during lockdown, but even they're gonna struggle. I mean, streaming services were all like sort of like smug and like, just so in love with themselves during lockdown. Amazon Prime, Netflix, they must have been they must have loved lockdown, and they're still doing. I mean, Netflix it's still making money, but it's taking a hit. But as time goes on, as more and more of this recession hits, which it shows no sign of stopping in the UK, in Europe, and I can't say for the States, but people are not going to like put up with like paying Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Shudder, whatever they've got. They're just going to cancel all of it, and they're just going to go to pirate sites, torrent sites. We all know that. I mean, I've watched loads of shit. I mean, I watched the film tonight on a torrent site. I make no apologies for it. The film wasn't available on what I'm subscribed to. I currently subscribed to 2 subscription services. The film wasn't available on either of them. I want to watch the film, so I'm just going to torrent it. And hey, am I a bad man for doing that? I pay, I'm earning, a basic wage in terms of the way things are now, the way things have gone up. My wages haven't gone up with inflation. So I've got to tighten the belt, and I wanted some entertainment. There's a movie I wanted to see, and it wasn't available on Netflix or Shudder, which is currently the 2 streaming services I'm using. So fuck it, I just streamed it and torrented it. It was a movie that you can't get anywhere on any streaming service. So I'm not going to feel fucking guilty. So yeah, I mean, Sorry, but that's just the way it is. And I've really gone on a tangent now, and I know I'm not making too much sense. I'm probably not making a lot of sense at all, but I was basically the point I was trying to make was basically, it's just the way things are going. We're at a really bad place at the minute in terms of financially across the world. It's not good, and everyone's tightening the belt. Everybody's like making cuts where they can, and it's going to impact everything, and it's really, really, really going to impact TV and movies in the long term. I think if things don't pull themselves around in the next 3 or 4 years, then you're going to see massive layoffs in the entertainment industry in terms of certainly in cinemas. I just don't see cinemas surviving. I really don't. I think cinemas are a thing of the past now. I think there's a couple of the big boys who will survive. Everything else is gone. It's like you see it in the UK. I mean, it's like because obviously gambling's legal in the US, right? So you don't have betting stores, gambling shops, the way we do in the UK, where just you just go in and bet on horses or football, whatever. They'll be gone next. There's hundreds, thousands of them across the UK, but nobody goes in them because all the young generation, they just gamble online. They just do it. They use the phone, and it's only the old people who keep those things propped up. So once the old people die off, they'll all go. It's the way that video stores went, and I mean, realistically, cinemas are going to go the same way. Okay, young people go to cinemas a lot. It's not something that just old people do. It is a young person's thing, but not with the way things, not with prices now. And not with online entertainment. I just don't see it surviving at all. You'll probably, I think what will happen is you'll end up with one giant conglomerate of cinemas, maybe, who have maybe one in maybe in each major city across different countries, and going to cinema is kind of like an event. So if you live in the middle of nowhere, you've got to go to a big city to watch a film, and the only films they'll show will be the biggest budget movies, like Avengers Endgame fucking 7 or Star Wars 24. I think it's a sad state of affairs, but I think that's the way we are going, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not true, but yeah. James says, I hate to pick to you, but young girls love skinny, femi, petite emo boys right now. That's usually how I guess. Well, okay. You're probably right. I mean, I'm just an old fool who still harkens back to the days of the 80s, and I know I'm a dinosaur, and I know a lot of people probably think, but I know a lot of people think like me as well, who are probably old dinosaurs like me. But I will say one thing: I'll say Top Gun Maverick made $1 billion at the box office, and that was definitely a throwback to the old school, the 80s. Lesbian Head Sonia. Okay, here, end of same alone. Lexi says, Frankie Lowe's great. A genuine bad at acting chops. Cop Shop is one of the most. I've not seen Cop Shop yet. I need to check that movie out. Yeah, Shop says, the guy in the lair actually reminded me of Frank Grillo a bit, the badass soldier who's kind of like the male foil to the female lead. He kind of reminded me of Frank Grillo. Wakanda Forever was boring as hell, Dan. Boring as hell. So dull. Really was. Just, God, yeah. I mean, I like Black Panther. I like the first Black Panther movie. I think that was it. It misses Chadwick Boseman massively. Shuri, whoever, I don't know her real name. She's not enough to carry the film by herself. It's kind of it's a mishmash of different I'm not going to take credit for this. It was somebody on Critical Drinker stream who said like there's no kind of main character in the movie. It kind of just like they said whoever's like on screen at that time is like the main character, and then whoever is on screen in the next scene, they're the main character. There's no sort of center to it, which it does feel like that. It's just a really really bland, dull affair, with a really really uninteresting villain. But of course, the critics loved it because it's a Black Panther movie, and they've got to love it because if they don't love it, then they get accused of being racist. It is literally that simple. You've got to love that movie. If you hate on it, then you literally will be accused of being racist, and that's where we're at now with 2022. Which is that's as pathetic, as ridiculous as that sounds. It literally, mainstream sites and some of the shill YouTubers, and they know they fucking are. They love the movie because they have to love the movie because they're scared of losing that fucking paycheck. So yeah, it's a very very average movie. And like I say, Black Panther for me was a good film. My Own Culture. I just found him bland I don't think he as a bad guy. Like Michael B. Jordan, man. Michael B. Jordan was fucking brilliant in that role as Killmonger. He was so good. This guy just didn't do for me at all. He was just like watching paint dry. I believe you can do yeah. Action 12, please raise a decent bit of cash. Yeah, scripts ain't cheap. Yeah, definitely. yeah. No Alec Baldwin on set, thank you very much. They'll find a new fad, they always do. I want an escape from Philadelphia. Oh god. Al, come back, Al. If Al jump in the chat now, if he had put a link for him and I just like let him just rage, and I just monetize the channel based on his one appearance, which I'd probably be able to do. I puked a bit in my mouth. Escape from UK, yeah. During COVID, that was definitely going through my mind. Oh, what's up, Bunny? Bunny, you've turned up a little bit late because I am going to be wrapping things up now. So I apologize. You can always rewind and listen from the start. Guy and Assless chaps. Sorry, what? It just hit the corner. Joke. Okay. Okay. Oh God, Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh, hang on. He's brawny, man. Which one of you little hussies is going to show some fella some tits? What's up, brawny? Did I put a hashtag in on the Twitter tweet about brawny men? See, I'm going to wrap things up. I'm kind of curious to know who Brawny Man is. Who's Brawny Man? Have we got a YouTube channel? No, that's about a content. Curious. I'm just curious who Brawny Man is. How did you discover my channel, Brawny Man? Are you a new subscriber? Or is he gone? I don't want to wrap things up now because I want to know who Brawny Man is. Is he not going to reply? He's not. It's not who you think it is it? It's not really. Does he still like YouTube? Our favorite. Oh, thanks, Alexi. Thanks for jumping on, man. Yeah, as I say, if you're not subscribed to Lexi, go over. No, Al isn't funny. It's not him. Yeah, go over to Lexi. If you're not subscribed to Lexi, go over and give him a subscription. Great guy. Yeah, he really knows how to fucking put out a review as well. Way more than I could ever do. Brawny Man's disappeared. Brawny Man's gone. Come back, Brawny Man. We want to know who you are. You're not Al, are you? If you're Al, man, he must be still going into like live streams surely on a regular basis. I would have thought with a different name. Would he not do that really? My first live stream was with Al. Yeah. Oh my god, he's hitting on Drum Dums. Jesus Christ. Oh, my two favourite people, Drum Dums and Al. Jesus Christ, man. My name's Drum Dums. This movie's fucking brilliant. I don't care how bad it gets. It's Halloween Ends, amazing. Rob Zombie's Halloween, amazing. This movie, amazing. Everything's amazing in Drum Dums' life. Fucking hell. Oh my god, Drum Dums. What a shill. What a shill. I used to like Drum Dums as well, man, but oh my god. The guy just no. I'm definitely a Cody guy. TV's just gone off. I didn't get any nudes off him. Not that I want any nudes off Al, but I mean, I don't remember getting any. I didn't get any nudes off him. Oh man, are you not like a big fan of Lee? Lee, oh my god, I like Lee for the first. I don't want to hate on the guy. I'm sure he's probably maybe he's a nice guy. I don't know. I don't know. There's just something not genuine about him. There really isn't. Maybe it's just that positive. I say the thing about like being British is like we don't have that positive energy that you guys have. Like it's like everything's great all the time. We're kind of just like, you know, and we're not really polite either. So if basically we think something's like, if we think someone's not being genuine, we just basically say, shut the fuck up, you stupid cunt. And it's not even in a bad way. It's not even like meant to be offensive. We just call people like we just criticize people like in a nice. We're not even being offensive. We just do it as a matter of fact, and people don't even take offense. So it's like, you know, I could be saying something, and my friend will go, "Oh, shut the fuck up, you stupid cunt," and it's like. It's not I'm not offended because it's just like that's like a term of endearment. Yeah, it is definitely it is a term of endearment. We just use it. Like if you've ever seen a UK movie, you know it gets used all the time in a lot of UK movies. But yeah, we don't stand for bullshit. You know what I mean? And we don't really. But and again, we're just not like that sort of happy-go-lucky all the time, always. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything's great. Everything's amazing. It's just like, so sometimes sometimes when I see YouTubers who are just like constantly positive, constantly, and I don't want to aim this at Lee really, but I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like saying, "Oh, shut the fuck up, man! Shut up! Stop being so fucking positive, you prick. Life's not all fucking roses." But that's just me. That's just being fucking British, basically. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay. So, Alexi, you've kind of revealed something now I wasn't sure about. See, I'd heard rumors, and Dan probably can confirm this. So, I didn't know he'd emailed dick pics to a female fan. I know he'd done shit, and I know that's why Cody basically cut all ties with him. But I didn't know. I'd heard rumors about stuff, but I didn't know. I'm not saying this is true, by the way. So I'm only going based on what you said as well. But if that is true, then yeah, that's a bit of a dick move. Yeah, I knew I knew he was a bit iffy. There's more to that. Yeah. Okay. So, and I've just got a notification for Dan. Don't worry, Dan. I'll be coming off in a minute. Yeah, there's more to it than that. Okay. Like I knew there was shit. I knew shit had gone on. I knew it was sexual, but I didn't really know what. But man, yeah. I mean, yeah. And his wife looks lovely as well. She looks like such a nice person, and like see, I just think Lee to me was someone who, as the channel grew, you could see the cockiness rising for each and every thousand sub went up more and more. And yeah, I mean, there was always something a bit off. I felt there was. Do you know when you just, even when I was watching him like from the beginning, even maybe not from the first few months, but as he got on a bit, as the channel became a bit bigger and he became a little bit more like confidence, and he obviously as you get bigger and your channel grows, you become more of a confident character, and you become maybe a bit more cocky in how you carry yourself and that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just a feeling when you're watching someone and you don't know them, even you're just watching them through a TV screen, you can kind of just sense that person. There's something about them that's a little bit. It's not like there's anything wrong with them specifically. I mean, even if he'd never done that, it's something that says to me, I don't think I'd get on with you in real life. As in, if I met you in a bar or whatever in a public event, I kind of feel like we wouldn't really click. It's just something about you and the way I am. I don't think and I kind of feel like you'd probably look at me as if like I'm like a piece of dirt on the bottom of your shoe or something. I just don't think you'd really. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whereas like as that channel grew, I kind of became more and more distance from him. Where it's like someone like Piz, who's like channel I followed at a similar trajectory to Lee's. I started watching Piz from like 4,000 subs, and as the channel grew, he never changed. He obviously the production values changed. He became more professional, but he was always just like the down to earth, considerate, warm person that he was from the beginning. And from like 4,000 subs to 50,000 subs, even now, it's like I know I could walk into a bar or hotel, airport, whatever you want to call it. I know I could walk in and he'd be a down to earth guy. He'd have time for me as a person. Whereas with someone like Lee, I just I suspect that wouldn't be the case, and I mean, I'm basing it on a gut instinct here. I'm just a gut instinct, but I think quite a lot of time your gut instinct tells you a lot about people, and yeah, I mean that's you know what I mean. I'm like I say, I don't know Cody whatsoever, but Cody always to me came across as more of a straight up kind of guy from the off. Um, so I mean, yeah, but yeah, send the dick pics, man. Maybe send some to Al. You better be careful if you send anything to Al. Jesus Christ. He seems like the kind of guy who never shaves his balls. Oh, okay. So what name is but she and John by both comparing playing? Oh my god. Lee's wife sent me a friend request on Facebook as well. Oh, I got rid of all my friends on Facebook a long time ago. I barely go on Facebook, but yeah, she sent me a friend request. I accepted it as well. I'm not a Cody fan. I'll come because okay. So I mean, yeah. So I obviously, I mean, Cody. I mean, obviously, you're not a fan. I mean, I'm not. Cody to me just kind of came across the guy who seemed like a regular. I mean, Cody's become massive. He's got like 100,000 subs, but he always seemed to me like just to be like a normal, like just regular fella. I never like really felt like they. I never got like any bad vibes off him the way I did with Lee. I mean, I don't know, but in terms of like, obviously they had the big split up, and ultimately Cody won the war. I suppose he's got like double the amount of subscribers Lee's got now. Lee's doing well. I mean, he's doing perfectly okay for himself, but I do think that hurt him because they were kind of like on a similar level. And when that whole thing broke with the split, Cody kind of just went up a notch, and Lee kind of like fell behind. But I don't know, because that's the thing. It's opinions like arseholes. Everybody's got one, and they all stink. Basically, it's like that's the thing. It's like, yeah, makes it. Yeah, that's. I'd love to, Dan. I don't know if my expenses will quite take me there. Unfortunately, maybe in about 5 years. I'd have to like. I don't think my wife would be totally okay with me just going to America to. If I took her with me, I don't know how I'd quite sell it to her. A horror convention, she'd be like, "What? Where are we going? If it was in New York, maybe, or maybe like Vegas, maybe she'd be on board. But if it was like just some random place, I don't think she'd be too happy about it." um, I have a hilarious pics. I can't. I don't know what DMC those sort of. Cody should make it called the Cock and Show. Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't do that. By the way, guys, don't pull money for me to get to America. That's a really really bad idea. Not at all. Do it. Totally do it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up now, guys. Wow, what a stream! 13 people on average throughout the entire hour and 25 minutes. Well, not on average, but it's close enough being average. Yeah, so thank you everyone for jumping on board, man. For 135 subscribers, I'm constantly amazed by the interaction I get on these streams. It's great, because like I say, I see channels out there with more subscribers than this without the interaction that I'm getting on this, and it's just fantastic, man. Yeah, the mic fund exactly. Cheers, Chris. Yeah, definitely hit me up about any future streams, man. Like I say, no biggie. When you're ready, you just let me know. Yeah, that needs to happen. I agree. Do not send any money to the mic fund. Do not. But yeah, thanks for anyone jumps on board tonight. I'll probably be back maybe Sunday or Monday. I might do another reaction to another magazine or website top 100 movies list or something. But for everyone who jumped on board tonight, thank you so much. And I will see you later. Good night.